Hello nation, and welcome back to the homestead. We have talked to you a lot about cows, and we have talked to you and we kind of focused in on commitment level when it comes to cows, especially dairy cows. So today we're going to talk to you about the things that you need to have on hand before your dairy cow arrives. All right, so you're going to get a dairy cow. So the very first thing, after you've made that decision, the very first thing that you need to do is come up with what we call a pasture plan. Now, that can be open grazing like how we do our beef cows, or it could be rotational grazing, intense grazing like how we do our dairy cows. Now, if you're going to do open grazing, you're going to need hard fencing, and with hard fencing comes your wooden posts, your T-posts, your clips. I would strongly suggest barbed wire. It's more cost effective than using a lot of the hurricane fencing and hog type fencing, especially if you're talking about a large area. Now, with rotational grazing, you're going to need things like your electric charger, your gate clip that the wire ties on and it clips to. You're going to need tensioners to keep this wire tight. Obviously, you're going to need electric wire. You're going to need a water trough, and you're going to need your step-in posts. And I would also suggest that you also have a rubber mallet with your step-in post in case, like with us, we're in the granite capital of the world. Sometimes these puppies just don't step right in. We gotta convince them that they want to be there. And then my other suggestion would be is to have a toolbox or a bucket or something like that that you can keep spare clips for your charger. You can keep your rubber mallet so it doesn't get lost, especially if you have teenagers, extra tensioners, and even a little bit of extra wire. Remember, the electric fencing is psychological, not physical. So it's very convenient and takes away stress, and it's very nice to have things to be able to repair this in one central location close by, so that way you don't have to run all over and try to find it. You can get it done quick in a timely manner to get them back where they belong. So the next thing that we're going to talk about that you're going to need to have is a corral. Now, you don't have to have one, go out and spend all the money to get one as nice as this. You can build one out of pallets, barbed wire, hard fencing, because this is a physical barrier for your new dairy cow. Now, you'll use this corral for many different things, and it's super important to have this before your dairy cow arrives. But things that you'll use this for is, if you have more than one dairy cow to milk, you can put them in here, take them to the milking station one at a time. If you have an emergency situation, something happened with your charger or it's bad weather, you need a place to put them that is a physical barrier, so that way they don't go running all over your homestead. Okay. So in addition to the corral, one of the things that I would suggest, it's not a hardcore have to have, but I strongly suggest, is to have these buckets right here. Now, these are typically used for horses, but we've been able to use them with cows with great success. Now, you can put feed in here, you can put little treats in here, you can put water in here for them to have while they're in the corral. Now, it doesn't really hold enough water to rely on the water. I would go ahead and put a big water trough in here, but it's definitely convenient to be able to put some feed in here while they're in the corral, and it keeps it up off the ground. All right, another thing that you're going to need to have is some type of a shelter. A stall, a barn would be great. We made this makeshift stall here out of our old hay barn, our whole hay lean-to, I guess is better, with a bunch of gates and some tarps. Put some deep bedding down, some deep straw, so she can be up off the ground. It should be good. Now you want this for many reasons. You want to be able to, if the weather gets crazy bad, you get a lot of thunder and lightning, you want to get your cows under shelter if you can. Trust me, we have had a cow hit by lightning. It's not pretty. And then if she's going to calf, but also when your dairy cow first arrives, you want to give her a place that's nice and secure where she can calm down and de-stress from the travel from wherever it is that you purchased your dairy cow to your homestead. All right, so let's talk about feeding your cow. I mean, feeding your cow obviously is a no-brainer. But if you want to maximize the potential or the amount of milk that you're getting from your cow, you cannot do it just on pasture alone. You can do a lot with your pasture if you overseed and get the right legumes and different things like that in your pasture. Yes, that can help. But for the health of your cow, they need minerals. So with your regular feed that you get, we just use a regular all-stock feed. I think it's like 16% protein. We also add sweet feed to it, and then we add different minerals. We have a salt type mineral, and then we have the organic kelp. We also add DE as a preventative to help ward off any possible intestinal parasites that your cow may get from grazing out on your pasture. And of course, a good quality hay. Okay, probably one of the most important things that you're going to need before your dairy cow gets home is a way to milk her. So you're going to need some type of a milking stanchion. Now this is the milking stanchion that we built here on our homestead. We kind of evolved into this milking stanchion. And I'll leave the link to the video of us building this milking stanchion in the description. But in all honesty, if you go back to our hand milking video, and I'll leave that link in the description as well also, you'll see that we just literally took a gate and we cut some of the bars out of it to have a way to be able to pinch in the cow, close in the cow, so that way she can't go anywhere while you're milking her. You do what is comfortable to you, but you will need a milking stanchion or a way to be able to milk that cow. All right, so while we're on the subject of milking, there's really only two options: machine milk or hand milk. Well, I'll say this when it comes to machine milking, because we like to machine milk too. But do your due diligence on your milking machine. There are some good ones out there, but there's more bad ones than good ones, unfortunately. So do your homework. Read the reviews. Talk to other homesteaders that you know that have dairy cows that use a machine. The other stuff that you're going to need is iodine, udder butter, a brush, a washcloth, and soap and water. Be able to clean off the tits and the udder and the bag and stuff like that. Now I will say this: do not rule out hand milking straight away. I believe everybody should hand milk for a little while. It helps you develop a bond with the cow. Plus, you can detect like mastitis a lot earlier when you're hand milking than you do with machine milk, because you'll be up there all around the udder and you can feel if it's rocky or if it's warm, warmer than normal. You'll be squeezing out, you'll see it come out. So don't rule out hand milking. I think everybody should give it a try. Okay, some other little odd and end things that you're going to need before your dairy cow gets to your homestead. First thing you're going to need is a halter. Depending upon the age of your cow will kind of tell you the size of the halter that you're going to want to get. But this is really kind of an important thing. One, it's going to make it easier for you to be able to move her back and forth and around your homestead, because you can just clip on a leash or something like that. But if for some unforeseen reason your cow is able to get off your homestead, somebody will be able to tell that she's your milk cow because you got this halter on there, and you could put contact information just like you do with a dog's tag and put it on here. But this is a very good tool to use to help you control your milk cow while she's on your homestead. What goes hand in hand with this is, like I mentioned earlier, the leash or a long rope, something along those lines. And then last but not least, before you put that halter on her, you're going to want to have a rope halter when she first gets there. Now you want this rope halter to have a very long rope attached to it. So the halter and then a long rope attached to it. So these are just some of the little odd and end things that you're going to need before your dairy cow comes to your homestead. All right, a side note when it comes to your stall, your barn, whatever. One, you're going to want a good quality bedding down. Now that can be anything from leaves that you gather around on your homestead, to straw, to the nice pine pellets that they sell at your local feed and seed that almost acts like a kitty litter. Now the bedding has two major benefits. One, it puts a layer of insulation between the ground and your animal. That helps keep them warm on those really cold nights. Two, it helps you clean the stall out. You know, they don't have a restroom. They're doing it right there. So when you're scooping the poop, it's a lot easier when you have some good quality bedding down. Now the other thing when it comes to your stall and even your milking area, in the summertime, spring, summer, and fall, you want to think about fly control. Now, there are decent sprays out there that you can spray on your cow. There are different fly traps and stuff that you can do. And there's, of course, you know, just make sure that you keep everything clean and tidy, and that will help reduce your fly population as well. All right, so once you're done milking, you're going to need some tools to be able to process your milk. Now, with hand milking, you're going to have a stainless steel pail, but if you're using a machine, you're going to have the machine's bucket. You're going to need a container in order to store your milk, put your milk in. We started out using those plastic, like water containers that you can get at Walmart that have the spout at the bottom. But if the milk stayed in there longer than 24 hours, it started to develop a weird taste to it. So we switched to glass. We have a glass gallon like mason jar thing now that has the spout at the bottom. But in order to get the milk in there, we use a canning funnel with an old coffee strainer for the pour through coffee. We stick down in there, and then we pour our milk in there to strain it. What you're straining it out for is to get any pieces of hay or hair, anything like that that has fallen off the udder or coming off the cow while you were milking. You strain the milk out, and then you can let it sit to be able to harvest your cream out through the top. Now, another thing that you're going to definitely need is a bottle, because when your cow has that calf, you're going to have to pull that calf. We pull ours anywhere from 7 to 10 days afterwards, where we're 100% sure that cow or that calf has gotten all the colostrum from the cow. But then you're going to need a way to feed that calf, so you're going to need a bottle. All right, so there you have it. I hope this video has helped you become more prepared for the time when you bring your dairy cow home to your homestead. Hope it helps lower that stress level, because you guys should be able to enjoy having a dairy cow just as much as we do. Thanks for coming by the Big Bear Homestead. God bless, and have a nice day.